We're just a hodgepodge mismatch of mischievous miscreants. Welcome everybody once again to Superhouse Podcast. This is episode 71. Thanks again for listening. Today we have a very special guest with us. It's Athena Finger, and I'm going to let senior Batman correspondent Ben Wan take that away with the introduction to her. So take it away, Ben.
Hello, everyone. So if you're a Batman fan and you don't know the name Bill Finger, shame on you. But it's not too late because we can educate you on here. If you've listened back to episodes, I've talked a lot about myself being a writer and Batman fan. One thing I didn't bring up is that when I was applying to college essays, there was one question asked about if you were to pick any writer from history, who would you want to talk to? And I didn't pick Shakespeare. I didn't pick Hemingway or anybody like that. The first choice that came to mind, and I knew this was a risk, but I said to hell with it. I said the first choice that comes to mind is Bill Finger, because he created one of my favorite characters. He created one of my favorite worlds, and he was unsung. And I wish that I could talk to him and help him get the recognition he deserved. Unfortunately, I did not get into college with that, but I got into a different film school, and serves them right for not acknowledging Bill Finger. But anyway, I think if you have seen on Hulu, there is a documentary called Batman and Bill, and it goes into the history of what happened, despite the fact that there's the credit Batman created by Bob Kane on several movies and TV shows and animated things in the past. The truth of the matter, given all the different evidence from people who were around at the time, is that Bill Finger might not have created the name Batman, but he certainly created the costume, the name Bruce Wayne, the name Gotham City, Commissioner Gordon, Robin, just every single aspect. In fact, there's even a webcomic by Ty Templeton, and I'm sure, Athena, you've seen this one that is a spoof.
Oh, yeah.
Where he just shows up and he's just like, yeah, like, I didn't have a lot of criminals to fight. Like, is there a commissioner I can talk to? And the cops are like, not in this comic. And then it's like, all right, well, I'm going to go home. Man, I wish I had a car. So this is the man that we owe everything to in terms of all the things that make Batman right down to his origin story. And so if you haven't checked out the documentary on Hulu, definitely check it out. But one of the aspects that was brought in is the fact that for years, it wasn't, nobody really knew what was going to happen in terms of how to get Bill the credit he deserved until an author named Mark Tyler Nobleman found Bill's granddaughter, Athena, who is with us on this podcast today. And now, thanks to her efforts, along with Mark's and the legal team, Bill's name was on Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice, on the TV show Gotham. And it says at the end of the documentary that it will continue to be on all the adaptations from now until, hopefully, the dawn of time. So thank you for being with us, Athena. We just want to start off with a few follow-ups, I guess, because we all saw the documentary about what happened.
Yep.
And one of the things that we were curious about is how did, you bring up that you found out sort of what happened at an early age. You kind of, in terms of your grandfather's history with the character. Like, how early in life was this? Like, what exactly, like, did you hear this from your parents? Like, how did you hear the story about this?
I don't remember the exact moment, but it was something that my father told me about. I remember him telling me when I was very young. It doesn't stand out. Unfortunately, he was young. I was young when he passed away, so a lot of my memories aren't there. It's not like I can go back and ask him.
Right.
Unfortunately. But I was young. I remember in grade school. I wrote about it in the third grade. So, I was pretty young.
Mm-hmm. Got it. And were you, when it came to like Batman comics and media, like growing up, did you absorb it, or was it more something that you kind of avoided due to sort of the stigma that your family might have felt around it? Like, what was your attitude towards it?
Well, I didn't read comics really growing up. It wasn't really a medium that I went to, but I did watch, Super Friends and, of course, the reruns with Adam West. And then when the movies came out, I was really intrigued with what they did with that. Mainly film is what I followed, and then of course when the animated series in the '90s came out, that was like phenomenal. So
Mhm.
um, I read a little bit here and there, but it wasn't really a huge part of my life.
Mhm. Got it. Out of curiosity, we were wondering if you had ever. I mean, we didn't get a huge impression that he kept in touch with Bill or the family, but did you ever like meet Bob Kane or anybody from his family?
I did meet Mrs. Kane
Mm.
at the Dark Knight premiere very briefly, and that was about it. I haven't
Mm.
seen them, in any of the cons that I've gone to. They weren't part of any of the 75th anniversary stuff that was going on in 2014.
Mhm.
I I can't. I speculate that they are just quiet because they're private. I really don't know why they haven't been more vocal.
Mhm.
They haven't wanted to come and meet me or talk to me, or I mean, it's fine. I fully respect their privacy and what they choose to do, but you would think that they'd want to celebrate or even come back with some kind of statement in regards to everything that's happened in the last 3 years.
Mhm.
Um, but they haven't shown any interest. And again, I fully respect their wishes. I mean, maybe they don't want any part of it.
I see. Yeah. Who knows? But I imagine when you did see the credits in the beginning of Batman vs Superman, it did sort of feel different from the last few movies, obviously, that you had seen, where it was
Of
just
course,
Bob's
it
name.
was exciting. It was a sense of finally it's
Mhm.
there. And it was just really a happy moment for my family and myself to really see that we accomplished this thing that we were told was never being going to be accomplished ever. But we made it happen. So, it's like, yay, we really made it happen.
Mhm. Was that something that I guess you were told growing up a lot in terms of like this is like not something that'll happen at all? Like there's nothing that you can do.
Right. I was pretty much discouraged after my father passed away to pursue anything.
Mhm.
Oh.
Um, so I kind of just didn't really talk about it or really do anything about it. I mean, there were a couple times throughout the years that I called DC to see what I needed to do to like even approach, and I didn't really get anywhere.
Mhm.
So it was just tough. I didn't really know what avenues to take or who to talk to or if I should be talking to anybody at all.
Right.
Fortunate that my older sister go to law student copyright law and was able to maneuver the system the way she was able to.
No, definitely. That was I mean that connection definitely paid off as
Oh
well.
yeah.
I was also wondering if you ever get asked about Bill's other creations, because in looking up, he was a co-creator for the original Green Lantern, the Alan
Yeah.
Scott version, Wildcat as well. And funny enough, it looks like a lot of creators sort of tie them into Batman's past by making, that version of Green Lantern the predecessor to Batman and Gotham, or Wildcat, the guy who taught him boxing. Like, do you ever like get asked about these type of characters, or like is anybody like interested in talking to you about them too?
Not so much. It's more the Batman. I mean,
Mm.
that's the big one. But I mean, there's, I've had people ask me about some of his more obscure stuff, like the Green Slime film, and of course, the episode that he wrote for Batman
Of
for
course.
TV series and things like
Mm.
that. It's since Batman is so huge, I think it kind of foreshadows all these other characters that he did come
Right.
up with.
Of course. Yeah, I mean it's definitely one of the most beloved of the superheroes. Obviously, the other ones sort of launched into sort of their own little fan bases as well, but Batman's will always
Right.
be the most beloved.
Well, I mean, not that people come and talk to me about it, but I've been impressed. Like when I went to the premiere, Angela Bassett knew exactly who my grandfather was when I introduced myself.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was brilliant by that. Because it is one of those things. Because not everybody thinks of the original Green Lantern. They always think of the modern versions that they have of what there's like 7 different ones now or something. So they don't really. I don't think people really take the time to think about where the origin of that character comes from.
Mhm.
And so I was highly impressed. I mean, she knew exactly who I was talking about.
Nice. Andrew, do you have other questions?
Yeah, so I wanted to ask about one more question about the past, if you don't mind. Um, so
That's fun.
the Bob Kane supposedly comes up with the idea of a guy wearing somewhat of a bat suit, but then your grandfather thinks of the gauntlets, the cowl, the backstory, the Batmobile, Gotham, Commissioner Gordon, everything. And one thing I want to know was where do you think he came up with this? Where does this like insane creativity come from? Is it just because he was an artist? Can we just narrow it down to that,
I mean,
or is it something
people
else?
really are passionate about their field. I mean, he knew he wanted to be a writer before he was a writer. It was something that he had expressed to Bob Kane at a party that he wanted to write.
Okay.
Um, so, it, some of us just know what we want to be and what we should be.
Mhm.
And, he was meticulous about his writing, and he really put himself really into it. He did a lot of research. Um, he was meticulous about details. Even the notes that I leave for the actual, penciler and ink. So I mean, he was really a man of his craft, and he probably knew that at an early age. Just didn't have the opportunities until Bob came along.
He was like had an attention to detail, you would say.
Oh yes, he was meticulous with his scripts, and that's usually why they were late, is because he was still putting in all the fine tuning.
Okay. And was he like Michael Uslan kind of says sometimes he kind of love and also hate the Adam West show because it wasn't exactly the creation that they had in mind, but it was still somewhat in the ballpark, or was he like, okay, cool, I like this, whatever?
I don't know how he felt about it. I never met my grandfather, so
Okay.
um, unfortunately, I mean, I'm sure he was very proud of the episode that he wrote. Not sure if he felt that they deviated too much from his character, or if it was just, here's another version of something that, I sparked someone else's, imagination to manipulate it in this way. I don't, who knows?
All right.
Unfortunately, that's not a question I can answer.
All right, no problem. Just wondering.
Speculation at this point,
Right. All right. So moving on from that, how do you think Batman and Bill has been received so far? It just came out, but it seems like it's been kind of a minor hit, would you say?
Oh, it's been huge. It's been received extremely well with everyone. With everyone that's seen it, comic book fans, non-comic book fans. I mean, the response has been overwhelming. I mean, the people have been, of course, reaching out and thanking the family for what they did for Bill, and thanking us for sharing the story. And they had no idea. And, they can't believe that history was wrong for so long. It's an intriguing story on its own if you just take the Batman factor out of it. I mean,
Right.
the person who was extremely creative and was basically robbed of his talent, and it took 3 generations to fight for him.
What's your personal favorite part of that movie, if you have one?
The favorite part of that movie, I don't know, probably, the end when he has his credit. I don't know, to be honest, it's hard for me to watch it.
Right.
I've watched it a couple times. I mean, I would have to say the ending, because it's a happy ending. We achieved the goal. That's that moment when Mark is sitting there and seeing the name. I know how I felt when I was sitting there and I saw it on the big screen. It was, pretty amazing. It's an awesome feeling when you see that, you can accomplish the unaccomplishable. That's a word.
When you first met Mark Nobleman, were you like, "You are the chosen one. I'm happy you have come"? Was it? It must have been insane, right?
It was a lot for me to process. I wasn't like it wasn't like a Star Wars moment where
You've been waiting out and talking with old ladies in his old apartments? You're insane.
No, I recognized that he was really passionate about telling Bill's story, which I hadn't really come across anyone that was really, that knew more about my family than I did, other than he was, the creator of this wonderful character. So it was really exciting but scary at the same time. But I'm glad that he reached out and he was able to find me and kind of push things forward a little bit and say it was time.
I was actually at one of those panels, I think maybe the WonderCon panel, and while I was watching the movie, I was thinking to myself, am I about to show up in this fucking documentary? This is about to get surreal. So I've seen you at one of the panels in person before, so it's like it was very weird kind of watching the movie. I thought there was going to be an audience shot, but there actually never was.
There wasn't.
Yeah, I guess there was too much.
We're at the one in St. Louis.
No, I was at WonderCon in Anaheim, probably.
Oh, I wasn't at that one.
Or maybe San Diego. I was at one of these.
That year in 2014, I was there.
Yes, I think I was at that one.
Okay.
Is there a favorite? Do you have a favorite incarnation of Batman? Because there's been so many throughout the years.
I don't know enough of the different ones there are. There's so many different ones now. Mm-hmm. As far as like film, the animated series definitely is top there.
Okay.
And then of course the '89 film, when that came out, that was monumental for a lot of people, including myself. What they did with that film after having, it was really cool to see this darker, more gritty side of the character. And then, of course, I'm a huge Tim Burton fan, so I was extremely excited to see what he was going to do with the character.
Yeah, it was weird because I was a huge fan of that when I was a kid, and my dad, he grew up with Adam West, so whenever he saw it, he was like, it's too dark, I don't like it. That's not my Batman. But that was my Batman for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking loved that movie. Whenever, especially in the beginning when he's like, "Who are you, man?" "I'm Batman." I was like 5 when I was seeing that, and I was like, "Oh my god!" I was losing my mind. I thought it was the greatest thing I'd ever seen in my life. I was only 5, but
yeah, but still, I think like I said, it had a huge impact on a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming off of that lighter, funnier, kind of spoofy kind of Batman and Robin.
This is off topic, not off topic, but out of our written questions. But I was just wondering, real quick, what were your thoughts? I know this is controversial in some way, but Batfleck when he was cast.
Oh, I was perfectly fine with it. A lot of people were upset. I know that. I don't know why. I mean, give the man a chance.
Right.
You know
and that comes from the granddaughter of Bill Finger herself.
A lot of people are judging him off of the Daredevil movie, and they're like, "Oh, he can't be a superhero. Look what he did with Daredevil." But you know what? He's just an actor. For Daredevil, he really had no control over what was going on. Right. So you can't fault him for one bad superhero movie when the man has done many wonderful films, and he's an Oscar winner. I mean, I couldn't, I just had to say, wait, let's see what he's going to do. Type of mentality with it, because he is a great actor. So
right. I think he does have true passion too. He did
a great job, and I can't wait to see what he does with the next, couple Batman flicks that are coming out.
It's like it's funny too, because whenever the movie came out, Batman vs Superman, people kept saying, even people that didn't like the film, they kept saying, Batfleck is the least wrong thing about this movie. It really, he did a great job. It's like, that's not
He
the
did a
problem.
great job in both too. Well, the thing is that not everyone can pull off both sides of the character, and
Right.
I think that good job with that. I think he was able to pull off an older Bruce Wayne and still have that dark Batman side at the same time.
Right. What were you going to say, Ben?
Well, I mean, I was going to go into how, well, when it comes to Bill Finger's credit on that, it is kind of funny how it's deliberately timed in the beginning with the origin story, which is exactly what Bill Finger contributed, one of the many things he contributed to it. So it's kind of poetic to me in a way that it happens to be there.
Yes.
And in terms of the 89 film, even one of the other things I appreciated about it as well is the fact that a lot of the different things that Burton put in there, I think we have a comic book comparison on another site I contributed to called BatmanOnline.com, but we have comparisons to many shots from that 89 movie to the early 1939 comics that Bill wrote. And several parts of those you can clearly see the influence, whether it's from Case of Chemical Syndicate or shots where Batman's fighting the vampire in the old days, to the shots that Burton did himself. So, like, out of all the eras, that one was the most influenced by the very early era, the one where Bill was just trying to write and figure out the character.
Well, I believe Michael Uslan had a lot to do with that, considering
Yeah.
it was his baby that he was really trying to get out to the public. He was not so happy or thrilled with the 60s TV series.
Yeah, he said that, yeah.
He grew up reading all the original stories and had that darker Batman growing up, and then to come and have this lighter Batman being portrayed on TV was kind of a disappointment. So he kind of made it his mission to bring it back to its original roots when he brought it to the film industry. He did a great job being able to do that, considering he was rejected for so long.
Right. It does seem to be an undercurrent of that in terms of the behind-the-scenes stories of Batman, which is funny because the character, so much of him is about that drive and the determination and overcoming the odds, or overcoming different tragedies, whether it's usually trying to get Batman on screen or, our discussion here about getting Bill Finger's credit.
I didn't hear the first part of that because you were cutting in and out.
Oh, sorry. I was saying that it seems like there's an undercurrent of a lot of people when it comes to the behind-the-scenes stuff for Batman, where just like the character's about overcoming tragedies or different like adversities. So it seems his fans, or the people who contribute to it, go through the same stuff, whether it's Uslan with getting the movie made or you guys trying to succeeding in getting Bill's credit.
No, it does seem to be an ongoing theme, but you know what? Unfortunately, it's a theme that goes throughout the whole industry on both sides. Whether you're a cartoonist or a writer or someone in the film industry, they make it extremely hard for the creative people, and they don't, give them the respect that they deserve for coming up with all of these, wonderfully imaginative worlds that we love.
What do you think about the current kind of general state of Batman right now? Is there something more that you'd wish that you wish Batman would change in the public eye in some way, or are you kind of okay with it now, or anything like that?
I didn't realize that he needed to be changed or upgraded.
Well, some people might think that he's like too dark, or some people might want to go back to Golden Age type stuff, or like the fact that in Batman vs Superman he seems to be killing people in times. Maybe that's a whole other conversation. But
I was just at shop yesterday, and so I was looking at what the titles that were there. There's such a wide variety of Batman franchise now. You can have the dark and gritty, or you can have the light reboot that they just did, and they have stuff in between. So I don't think he really needs to be changed because there's so many adaptations of him currently.
So you can kind of just pick the one that you want, and that's the Batman for you.
I'm sorry, you're
Sorry. So it's you think that there's so many options for Batman, you can find the Batman that you like.
well, yeah, because there's so many different variations of currently in print of the character.
Right.
So I don't think he really needs to be changed because he already has so many variations.
Right. Do you keep up with the comics at
even
all?
when Bill was writing it, there were a lot of variations within the character. I mean, there were some of them were extremely dark and gritty, and then some of them were absolutely ridiculous and laughable. So I've looked at a lot of different ones. I mean, I have a lot of compilation books that have been sent to me over the years of different stories, and I mean, some of them are, I mean, outright laughable. What were they thinking?
Do you have a favorite comics run or single story?
My go-to is always Kingdom Come. That's such an amazing book.
Oh,
Wow,
classic.
nice answer. That's cool. I like that. What is it about Kingdom Come that you like so much?
Um, First of all, Alex Ross is an amazing artist. I love his style. Um, and then the storyline is completely different. A friend of mine in high school turned me on, so he's like, "You gotta read this story. It's so good. I know you don't really read comics, but you gotta read this one." And it's Justice League, and they're much older, and they're all split up, and they have to come back together for this one last epic battle, and like, it's a 3-part book. You just read it. And he put it in my hands, and and he was right. I mean, it was an amazing story, and that's usually my go-to.
Yeah, I've always thought if they make a Justice League 3 movie, that's the one. Make a Kingdom Come movie. Make the most epic superhero movie you've ever seen. So I have one more, I think, and then I think Joey, you want to handle or Maddie, you want to handle the future questions. We have maybe not so much more after this, but
Okay.
after I'm assuming Batman is your favorite superhero, but who would you say is your second favorite?
Who's my second favorite superhero? I would
Yeah.
probably have to say Wolverine.
Wolverine. Wow. Okay.
Right on.
Why is that?
Well, because he's not really a superhero. He does his own thing, and he
Right.
tries to do good whenever he can, but he's really not all that great. He's kind of
Right.
That's hilarious. So you liked Logan, I take it.
Oh, Logan was in a great movie. It inspired me to do a painting.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Wow.
That's awesome. Is the painting finished?
Yes, it is. I can if you go on my Facebook page, it should be posted there.
All right, I'm excited to check that out. That's awesome. So Joey, you want to handle these last couple here?
Yes. Hi, Athena. I guess I kind of look at these questions. I just basically just want to ask one. So I guess what's the future for, I know this doc just came out, and you plan on going to more cons, or just trying to get the movie out there. And I know the name is it's going to be on all the comics and future merchandise and stuff. But yeah, just kind of what's the future?
Well, like I mentioned, I'm painting. So I'm doing some covers of stuff that Bill created. I'm going to do some other pieces of some of his creations. I do some of my own stuff also. I am currently trying to put together my own comic book line. I have been going to cons. I'm continually going to cons. Once I have my schedule up and running, then I can definitely let people know where I'll be. I'm putting together yet another page so that I can get that all centralized for people who do want to come out and listen to the panel or come by a poster with Bill's picture on it, or just come and say hi and talk to me. I mean, I'm always up for chatting with the fans, because without them,
Great.
we wouldn't be here. It really
Nice.
would be.
Good. Love it.
Do you feel that you've totally won? I mean, as far as like what we saw on Batman and Bill and the Batman on Batman podcast with Kevin Smith, with Mark Nobleman and all that, do you think that as far as your grandfather's legacy is concerned, with him getting credit now, do you feel closure?
As far as the fight for Bill, yes. I mean, we achieved the goal, which was
Awesome.
to get his name forever attached to.
Mhm.
Goal has been achieved. Mission accomplished. But I mean, there's so much more out there that needs to be addressed. And I mean, one of the things that I've talked about before is, being an artist advocate. I want to be able to get the information out to people on how to protect their creations and how to protect themselves,
Okay. Yeah.
and how to, maneuver around the legal system, and how to draft a contract, and how to read a contract, and what does it mean to intellectual property, and what does it mean to copyright things, and stuff that artists are too busy to really focus on because they're too busy creating art.
Right.
Right.
This is for them to them and information so that they are protected.
And how is this going to be? How are you going to realize this? Are you going to make a YouTube channel with tutorials, or like an online, like an article type of thing, or how exactly do you want to get this information out to artists?
Well, that's something that I'm still in the works with my sister, since she's the one that deals with all of the legal side. I mean, there are a few, groups out there to help artists. I think there needs to be more. I think there needs to be more, a real sense of artist empowerment when it comes to their creations. So I think, it's still, like I said, a website or an actual place people can go to, or if it's just a informational brochure people can get. I'm not really sure exactly how I'm going to structure it yet, but I know it's something that definitely needs to be out there for people who need the services.
For sure. Awesome. And this might be a bit unorthodox, but do you have any questions for us?
Oh. Wow.
Yes, I know.
Well, I mean, you guys always ask me what my favorite Batman is. What's your favorite Batman?
Take it away, Ben.
Starting with me, of course. I mean, I always grew up with I grew up with the animated series, so that's always my go-to when it comes to the adaptations. For the stories, I mean, I do have a collection of the very first few Batman stories that Bill worked on, as well as compilations from a lot of classics. In one of the past podcasts, I also noted a few classic ones from the 70s that I really love, such as or the 70s and the 80s. So one of them was Night of the Stalker by Steve Englehart, and the other one was To Kill a Legend, which was I think it's by Alan Brenner, and that's the one where Batman has the opportunity of whether or not to save Thomas and Martha Wayne in an alternate reality.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Sorry, so.
What about you, Joey?
I think for me, it's, I think I read a couple Batman comics like when I was, younger, and maybe the 60s show, was in its reruns, and I probably saw a few of those. But I think once the 89 movie came out and I saw that, I was like you were saying earlier, just like mind blown. I can quote the entire movie like backwards, forwards,
yes.
But and as far as like comics, I think like I've got quite a few, and I think probably Long Halloween is probably my favorite. The Jeff Loeb's Tim Sale story. So yeah, I think those, as far as a movie and a comic series run, I think those are my two favorite.
Okay.
Maddie, you've been quiet.
Yeah, sorry, just listening and enjoying. I would. I love the animated series, but I think like Batman Beyond was like blew my mind.
Oh,
I
nice
just loved
answer.
old Bruce Wayne. I like the opening of the series when he's trying to be Batman, but he's too old to do it, and he realizes he can't do it. I always loved that cartoon. I feel like, I don't know, I want to see that on the big screen. Comic book wise, like
I've heard that a few times, but a lot of people would like to see that on the big screen.
oh,
Fuck yeah, man.
I think people are really into it for sure.
Comic book wise, like I like Paul Pope's Batman Year 100 just because I like his art style so much. The story's kind of weird, but just the art style. I like all the classic ones: Long Halloween, Dark Victory, all those. I mean, I don't know if it's Batman, I'm probably gonna read it most of the time. So if I had to do a little shout out though, one of my guilty pleasures is Batman versus Predator. So I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Nice.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
So.
I just bought a series for Batman versus Wildcat.
Nice.
Oh,
I'd have to go with. I mean, like I said, I grew up loving that first Batman movie. I was born in '84. The movie came out in '89. I think I only caught that on VHS. I think I was too young to catch it on in the theater, but I was it just blew my mind when I was a kid. I saw it probably when I was a little bit too young to be watching it, because there are some dark parts to it, but for a kid anyway. And then when Batman Begins came out, I really did love Nolan's take, because Nolan really took the time to explain why a bat, why the focus on fear, why a cape, why am I using a Batmobile. I like that he explained every little step, and the mythology seemed to grow so much with him, with those movies. It's you just get the impression that Nolan really, really loves Batman. I don't know if you ever met him, Athena, but
Did I got to meet him briefly? He was very nice.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. I mean, I thought those movies were so great, but comic book wise, I do love Kingdom Come quite a lot. In recent years, I would probably say that Court of Owls, I thought that was just such an awesome run. I literally couldn't put the book down. It was a literal page turner. I thought it was so great.
Yeah.
So I guess that's basically it. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been amazing. I thought it was so awesome that we were able to schedule this.
Well, thank you for having me on. This was great.
of course.
All right. Thank you.
Any final remarks, final things anybody wants to say before we sign off?
Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day, and we'll keep posted on your progress in advocating for artists, because as you said, even though a lot of this was very Batman focused, whether you like Batman or not, a lot of Bill's story is about seeing justice done for creators and artists.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nicely put.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Athena. It's just so awesome that you took the time to talk with us, and hopefully we can do it again sometime.
Sounds great.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a
Awesome.
good one.
All right, take care.
Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
Well, that was Athena Finger, the granddaughter of Bill Finger, the co-creator of Batman, who created most of the Batman mythos, honestly. You should go check out the Batman and Bill documentary on Hulu, and go check out the Fat Man on Batman podcast that features Mark T. Nobleman, who wrote Bill the Boy Wonder. And we want to thank Athena Finger again. It was so awesome that she took the time to come on and talk to us, and we hope to talk to her again. The Batman fandom is one of the biggest in the world, and it's so great to talk to somebody that is a direct descendant of the original creator, one of the original creators. So definitely an honor. So this has been Andrew from Superhouse. Check you later.
This is Stefan from the Superhouse Podcast. Be sure to check us out on Patreon, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and any other godforsaken social media outlet that we should be floating on.
We are basically on all social media.
Yeah, all social media.
Mainly Facebook and Twitter and Patreon.
Check out the links in the description.
We have a lot of cool goals set up on our Patreon. Like if you donate $1, you'll be able to give us a topic for us to talk about, and we'll talk about for maybe an hour or more. Who knows how long it'll take?
And that's pretty tight.
That's the coolest thing.
Wait, we're on the internet?
That's pretty good. If you
And we can make money.
What?
If you donate $1,000, you get full frontal nudes.
We haven't set that up, but it's a possibility. You give us $1,000, who knows what'll happen?
Check us out.
I'll do that. I'll do that.
You get to go on a date with one of us for $10,000.
But you pay for everything.
You get to have your way with Maddie for $20,000.
For $1 million, I'll give you Joey for a weekend.
For $30,000, we'll help you hide a body. Check out our Patreon.
Superhouse Gigolo Project 2017.
Links in the description.